Peggy 16.
I think that what makes us really stand out is just the scope and depth of our features and mechanics, coupled with a narrative that is hopefully genuinely compelling and thought-provoking.
It's a very honest homage to RPG games with a nostalgic, traditional RPG feel, but there's also some new features like our asynchronous features that allow the community to come together and to foster connections inside the game as well as outside of the game. Players can trade items with each other, so I think that's quite exciting. There's a voice in the darkness, so you're able to give up something called a reset charge, which allows you to revive a player in another world after they have run out of their reset charges. So that can be quite a good feeling because it says player whoever has saved you from peril, basically. There's another feature called Into the Ether, which I really like, where you can throw an item into the ether and a player will get it on the other side, and then it will be ether touched, which gives it some additional kind of benefits. So yeah, there's lots of features that are cooperative, and I'm very curious to see what players do and if they choose to do that.
One of the most common items that players will want to trade between each other are the cartograms themselves. Cartograms are the levels that you play in the game, but these can be thought of as blueprints because they're actually items that you carry in your inventory and they drop from enemies. Each one comes imprinted with some randomized elements, which will make you have to think about how you approach it. As you progress through the game, you'll find a lot of sort of, if you like, loot, which is equipment that the player wears. The loot system is randomly generated from enemies, and we also have a crafting system in the game where you can reroll stats and you can move stats around to modify them just enough so that they improve to fit your build. As you play, you'll also be able to unlock new abilities, which is what the combat revolves around. Some of the abilities are actually tied to the ancient technology as opposed to the modern one.
Some of them are tied to the weapons, but there's also shared abilities that can be used with any build, and there's also an ultimate ability that you get later in the game.
You also want to be asking yourself, when using these abilities, what kind of damage do you want to be doing? So you may want to be selecting abilities that really lean into the elemental type of damage that your weapon does. If you have a frost-based weapon, for instance, you'll be choosing abilities that have frost-based damage or inherit that damage from the weapon.
Each different cartogram will have different ways that it needs to be solved. So the point is to be able to create different builds and to allow players to have that level of complexity and that layer of theory craft in their build. But then also it does require some sense of mastery, like some of the skills require perfect timing, parries and dodges. So there's also that aspect to it.
There's a lot of opportunity for players to really play their way. And I think they're really going to enjoy it.